Randy is back, and we're finally at dessert, which is the most important part of the meal. So, Randy, you were making a flan for us now. Before we get started, here's what everyone needs at home to follow through on this one. You need some dough, rhubarb, orange zest, sugar, maple syrup, cornstarch, butter, and sugar. Yum. Okay, chef, let's get started.
Everyone looks at the rhubarb and they think it's really, really tart. And that's kind of what I like about it, but we are going to hide it because it is dessert in a little bit of sugar. Now, you're going to find different types of rhubarb. There's red rhubarb and there's whiter stuff. I like the red stuff because, I mean, it looks cooler, number one. And today's flan, Tracy, we are going straight up rhubarb because I'm a purist. I don't believe in cutting it with strawberries. So apparently I was told just before we started filming that my camera person, Catherine, she does like strawberries. So later after the show, I'll be baking another tart.
Yes, you will.
Which will have strawberries. So if you need the strawberries, just take out, I would say, like 30% of the rhubarb and add 30% strawberries. Now, I want to talk to you about the name flan because it suggests that it might be something different. A lot of people think of flan is like a custard or an egg base. What are your feelings on that, Trace?
Yeah, I see it as a custard or an egg base and like that super shiny glaze on top. It actually sounds super fancy. So is that what you had in mind for a flan or something else?
No, not at all. Totally not at all.
Well, you only have 6 minutes, so that's a good thing.
Okay, that is a good thing. This is still going to be fancy. It's going to be pure. It's going to be delicious. But better than all of those things, it's going to be simple. A flan can also be an open-faced pie. So if you're young and cool and hip like myself, you never put a lid on your pie. You leave it open and you call it a flan. So there we have it. Let's get started. So what I'm going to do, because I bought this season, glorious rhubarb, is I'm going to cut it a little bit thicker than some people would because when it bakes, I want it to kind of hold its shape, right? I don't want it to just kind of like turn into absolutely nothing. And you can see this is the red stuff because it's red all the way through. If yours isn't, don't be upset, you know, just try to pick those ones out at the grocery store. So now into the bowl we go with the rhubarb, and I cut a little bit up ahead of time as well. So we're gonna need about 6 cups. Okay, so now what we need to do is, because this is just like raw rhubarb going in, we need to cover it up with all kinds of good stuff. So we've got some white sugar. That's going to create a bit of a glaze in there. I used up all the orange zest, juicing oranges last night. So if you don't have any oranges or orange zest, just use a little bit of orange juice. That's okay. Then I'm going to use some of the pure stuff, Tracy. Do you know what this is?
Is that maple syrup or is it vanilla? Oh, it's maple syrup,
of
course. Feltis Farms.
It is maple syrup. You got it. So a nice glug of the maple syrup. Don't be afraid to put that in because that's just going to absorb everything up as well. And then I also have a little bit of butter here. Room temp is fine. It's going to fall apart. And then to bring everything together when we're baking, because there's going to be a lot of liquid extracting out, we're going to sprinkle it with cornstarch. It might be a funny ingredient, but what that's going to do is it's going to trap everything onto the rhubarb and just kind of like absorb that flavor and let the flavor and the moisture kind of run out. So now, as you see, you toss this baby up, it's going to start looking like a bit of a glaze on that rhubarb. And that's exactly what we're after. Just give it a few more tosses. And don't be afraid to give it a try. If you feel like you need a bit more sugar, you can toss a little bit in there. Catherine's nodding at me. She wants more sugar. I like things sour. I'm a little sour dude. I don't know.
Me and Catherine are on the same page for this one, but I like how it gave you like a slap across the face. Like you want a little bit of tart, like, right?
It wakes you up a little bit. That's exactly what I'm after. So I've got my pastry here that I did. I'm just letting it get out to a little bit of room temperature. And I've put down a sill pad. If you don't have a sill pad, some parchment paper is okay too. But you want to roll this out to a pretty aggressive amount. Even go past the sill pad or the parchment paper, that's okay. You want it to about 14 inches, believe it or not. So that's a fairly big round. And you want to leave the middle a little bit thicker, that's cool too. And then a little bit thinner on the outside edge. So now what we're going to do is basically take our rhubarb and put it in the middle. No pie sheet necessary here. We're just going to kind of slap this down like that. And then just kind of work it out so it's a little bit even. But the beauty of calling it a flan, Trace, is you can be a little loose with this. It's like, yeah, whatever, we're making a flan. It's going to be gorgeous, right?
Totally.
Now, we're just going to take this pastry and do a little fold up like this all the way around.
You were absolutely right. This is simple. This is the simplest way to do it, but it's going to look very impressive once that all bakes together.
Whenever you have people come over to your house, or even the family, has anybody ever looked at you when you baked pastry and sugar and things together and said, you know, it's not the prettiest, but I'm still going to eat it? No, they're going to go, oh my God, look at how glorious that thing is. I will have the extra large piece, pretty please.
Absolutely.
So then I just take a little bit of the glaze from the bottom of the bowl. And this one's important. We take some castor sugar or brown sugar, and we're just going to like sprinkle that across. And when that gets into the oven, it's going to give the pastry these little freckles kind of thing, which is kind of pretty. And then the secret move here, Trace, is just off your counter, take your baking pan, whoop,
perfect.
Like that, into the oven, 400 degrees. It took about 35 minutes, but just until it's golden is perfect. And then...
oh, he's got one done.
Look at this result.
Stunning.
And... I even put it on a
gorgeous.
lazy Susan for you. We could spin it. It's gorgeous.
Oh man, I like that. That's my favorite kind of flan now. I love it. That recipe is up on our website, as always, cityline.tv.